Hey everyone. So I have like the shirt image in the background, but that's just something casual. I didn't do it on purpose. So today I'm gonna show you something that we're now running entirely with Claude. That before we were completely running in using Clay. I will show you exactly like the steps and exactly how we think about that and how you don't waste a lot of money doing it. That it is like very likely when you start using Claude. That is email like lead sourcing and email enrichment. And it's something that like whenever like a client lately is asking us to enrich some leads, we are so fast that they are like, oh wow, this is magic. Because really it happened that like they send us like a list of leads, and basically we give them it enriched in, I don't know, not even like 5 minutes later, less than 5 minutes later, completely enriched with emails and LinkedIn URL. So how it is possible, and I want to start before what we do in Cloud and how you should organize it. I want to start on what's the difference from Clay here. The main difference, with Clay is that, and why Cloud is better than Clay in this is because whenever like we're using Clay, what we have to do is like we have to really be careful on how the CSV is formatted. Because let's say that I build a table for email enrichment, and by the way, Clay. I remember 3 years ago in 2023, like it was really famous for the email enrichment. It was one of the first use cases. And even speaking with people at Clay, they really know like how the tool has always been kind of also positioned and recognized in the email enrichment. But now Clay has a different positioning, more for system, more for complicated RevOps. But it really started with the email enrichment. In 2023, Clay was spoken a lot about email enrichment. What are like the downsides of Clay for this? So whenever like you are enriching like so a list of leads, uh, whenever you build a table, like Clay works, Clay needs some logic, some logics in there, needs some inputs. And let's say that like your CSV doesn't have those inputs. Let's say, for example, that Clay to find the emails like need the company formatted in a way, the domain formatted in a way, and the LinkedIn URL. Let's say that like the CSV that you receives has different column names and doesn't have all the information. Well, you have like to do some work on cleaning. First of all, like formatting in a way that the names are correct. Also, like you can do it quickly while you input, but sometimes like you need additional information, and you might have like to enrich that list before you're able to enrich the emails. So it's something that like in the past, I remember last year clients ask for email enrichment sometimes, and we or even us like running the campaigns, and we really lost time like doing this formatting exercise. So what you can do instead is using Claude right now nowadays. So we have, for example, this skill that is called enrich leads. Something very important, like I will go for a series of API. Before running this, make sure that you're storing your API. You're not giving the API keys to the chat, because like they risk to be leaked first, because like they go mostly like they can be like shared publicly, and second, the like the Claude risk like to use it in the wrong way. And I say this by hard lesson, by learning really the hard lesson. We had, for example, lost a lot of like credits, a lot of money, not doing this right. So just store the API keys in the .env file in the Claude folder, and yes, the LLM will just the Claude instruct the scale to go there, like to find the key. So whenever we call enrich leads, what happens is that first of all we have to source the lead. Now, like the first source is the CSV. Could be like a list that is given us from the client. Could be like majority of cases a list that we scrape, maybe to run the campaign. And let's say that, for example, like you filter Apollo, you scrape with export Apollo, and then you upload in Claude. Like this is like something that usually we did with Clay, but can be done now faster with Claude. If the CSV is not provided, automatically goes to look our Claude goes to look into our Supabase. Our Supabase is like we have like basically a list of leads that we have worked and found throughout the years. If it's not found in Supabase, it goes into BlitzAPI. if it's not found in BlitzAPI, BlitzAPI has a really big source of of leads, companies and leads. If it doesn't find in BlitzAPI, it finds Alexa. So I don't have to format anything, because like if I have a CSV, I can just give the CSV, it dump the CSV there, and like Claude does everything for me in terms of formatting. If I don't have the CSV, I can just tell it, okay, find head of marketing in this industry on this size in this geography, and it finds it like with super basic BlitzAPI and Dexa. Amazing. So once we have the leads, the next step is to, if we have already an email, like from the leads, like first of all, we validate that. We use debounce, but also read magic is very good as a first step. If the email is not found or is not valid, we then find the email. We use find email. We don't usually validate find email, but like we apply a final validation on the final valid email that is found. I will go, bear with me, I will go in a second. If the email is not found, we find the email that should be already validated by itself. We find the email with lead magic. And if the email is not found with lead magic, we validate, if the email is found with lead magic, we then validate with debounce. And the final validated email is then validated against any catch-alls with bounce ban. So this is what happens, and this is what happens in really a matter of seconds for potentially thousands of rows or even more directly inside Claude. This happened like in matter of seconds. Like this happens like in a fast time in Clay as well. But again, in Clay there is the issue that you have to format the list in the same exact way. You might have like to enrich information that you don't have if you don't have. So if like one source is Apollo, one source is BlitzAPI, and one source is a CSV that is shared from the client, you have three different sources that you have to format in the same way with a lot of conditional logics. And I mean, I love Clay, and I love like being in this like conditionals, but it takes a lot of time. Definitely just dropping a Claude, just dropping a CSV or like some like written information to Claude. It's way faster and way more efficient for our clients. So once we have the final validated email, we like Claude automatically create a CSV, and it stores in GitHub. We have our in our client's repository. We have a repository for every client, and Claude opens in Finder. So in Finder, we have the CSV that they can share directly with the client, but at the same time, it's stored in Claude. And you know, the cool thing is that you can basically use these enrich leads either to enrich leads like one time. Let's say the example, you know, that like the client wants to enrich a list, like they give us the list and we enrich that and we provide it. But like mostly enrich leads is just one skill without our macro skill that is run campaign. So inside run campaign, we are able to basically have enrich leads as the first, skill, and then we have like all the others: copy creation, campaign creation in email bison or smart lead, and then launch. So I can show you another video on how this works in terms of that run campaign, the skills that are part of it. But yes, this is like something that right now it's so quick. No need for formatting, no need for like finding like additional data. You just basically drop like your CSV or like drop your request to Claude, and you are able to get the result. Be really careful on these points of the APIs, and be really careful on organizing the structure. We wasted a lot of money, a lot of credits by doing things bad in the learning process. You don't have to follow the structure well. Just don't give the APIs to the chat, like position them in the right folder, in the .env file in the Claude folder, and think about the structure. Work really well on the structure, because like before implementing this, mostly when you implement at scale. If you implement at scale immediately, most likely you will lose money. Try at a low scale, test it, and slowly like build your competence, and then you can have a structure that you can scale. Hope this was helpful. If you're curious about how we manage system for our clients, how we create and manage system for our clients, how we use this stuff for our clients to generate results for our clients, text me in the DMs in LinkedIn or book a call directly. Have a good one, and thank you.